Today we're going to look at improving your rest play. So we're going to look at how to approach the shot, how to stand, how to hold the cue and the rest, and then a couple of extra tips that are hopefully going to improve your consistency when using the rest. So first of all, we're going to talk about approaching the shot, and this is no different to any other shot that you would play. So we're going to stand behind the line of the shot, and then we're going to walk forward, and we're going to slide the rest forward along the line of aim into position, and we're going to keep our head focused on that line of aim all the way down. So I'm just going to stand behind this shot, and I'm going to show you what I do when I walk into a shot. So I'm going to place my cue on the rest head straight away, and then I'm going to keep my head focused on the line of aim and slide the rest along that line forward into position, and then you can get down and play the shot. So let's just have a look at my feet positions, and when we use the rest we stand a little bit differently than we do when we just play normal shots with our hand on the table. So when we play normal shots we stand quite square onto the shot and our body is pointing, facing that line of aim. Now when we use the rest it's a good idea to stand with our feet just a little bit less than 45 degrees pointing away from the line of aim, and this just allows you to get your shoulders just a little bit more diagonal when you're using the rest, and that just means that it stops your shoulders being so square and it makes it easier for you to push the cue through in a straight line. So if I just walk into this shot and just show you where my feet go using the rest, you can see that my feet are pointing away from the line of aim slightly, and that just allows my shoulders to get that little bit more diagonal on the shot and just makes it easier for me to push the cue through in a straight line. Now a couple of important tips when using the rest. We don't want the rest head to move about at all when we're playing the shot. If the rest moves then we're probably going to push the cue offline and we'll miss the shot. So what we like to do is clamp this rest down to the bed of the table. So if I just have a look at this now, what you don't want to do is put the rest right underneath you like this, because you're just a bit cramped with the rest right underneath your body. So if you just move it to the side slightly, and then you can just use this hand to clamp the rest down and stop it moving about at all. So if I just have a look at that now, and I'll just walk into this shot, clamp the rest down, and then you can do your feathers and play the shot. Now a common problem I see when people are using the rest is you see people feathering up and the cue tip is nowhere near the cue ball. Now the problem with this, if I just move the rest just to the side of the cue ball here, the problem with this is that you feather up, you pull the cue back, and then you've already almost fully extended your arm before the cue tip even makes contact with the white ball, and that just makes it really easy to decelerate through the shot. So I'm just going to show you a little practice routine you can do just to get used to getting your cue tip just a bit closer to the white. So the way to practice getting that cue tip closer to the white is to literally just hit the white very gently. So if you just practice, if you get down with the rest and then just practice just going up to the white and just tapping the cue ball so you can just feel the cue tip making contact. And as you're doing that, just look what it looks like when your cue tip is really close to the white ball. And that'll just help your eyes get a feel for what it's like when the cue tip is right next to the white when you're feathering up. Now let's look at the distance that the rest head should be from the cue ball. And a good way to think about this is that effectively this rest head is replacing your bridge hand. So we're trying to replicate our normal bridge length. So if I just have a look at these side by side, you can see that when I'm feathering up now, I'm just trying to have the same amount of cue sticking out that I would when I've just got my hand on the table. And that's basically a good rule of thumb, and it just allows the cue to be controlled properly when we play shots with the rest. In my opinion, the easiest way to grip the cue when you're using the rest is to use 2 fingers on top and your thumb underneath. So what I do is I have the cue resting on my thumb underneath, I have my 2 fingers on top of the cue, and then these last 2 fingers just almost work like stabilising fingers at the back of the cue, and that just allows the cue to remain nice and loose when you're using the rest. So if we just look at it like that, I've just got my thumb underneath, 2 fingers on top, the other ones are stabilisers, and that can just stay nice and loose all the way through the shot. And then the final tip is for almost all shots when you're using the rest, you can use the lower part of the X like that. So obviously we've got a lower part there, and then we've got a higher part. And if you use the lower part, it just means that you can get the cue a little bit flatter to the bed of the table, and you can hit the fatter part of the white. There will be odd exceptions where you need to use the high part if you need extreme topspin, but generally they don't seem to crop up very often. So most of the time, just use that lower part and just get the cue nice and flat to the table and be able to hit the fat part of the white. And now we're finally ready to play a shot. And I've been practicing, so I've even managed to have my hair cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to do all the things we talked about. We're going to stand behind the line of the shot. We're going to slide into the shot, try and get that rest head in the right position so that it's replicating our normal bridge length. And then just one last important point here is try to have a reasonable backswing when you pull the cue back before you hit the cue ball. See a lot of people on these, they're just a little bit short and they jab at the cue ball. So just try and have a reasonable pull back before you go through and strike the white. So we're going to stand behind the line of the shot like this. I'm going to walk in like we talked about, put our bridge down, feather up to the white, nice pull back, and play the shot. So hopefully you found some of the things we've talked about in this video useful, and it's going to make your life a little bit easier when you're using the rest from now on. If you found this video useful, then please give it a like, and if you want to see more instructional videos exactly like this one, then please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, it just enables me to keep making more content and more instructional videos in the future. Thanks for watching. Cheers.